Lebanon still bears the wounds of past wars, raw and unhealed for decades. Now there are new ones. Every neighborhood in Beirut seems to have a ground zero. There are countless bomb sites like this one in communities across the country, where people are calculating the cost of the war one item at a time.
I own these two shops, a mini market and a candy shop. After the airstrikes, they were both damaged. During the war, I used my shops to provide basic supplies to displaced people. It is true that the destruction is huge, but we will get back and carry on.
Yet Zainab is one of the lucky ones. Faize is old enough to remember all the wars that have happened in modern Lebanon. She points to a gaping hole in a building, all that is left of her home.
Of course I'm sad. If people lose their home, where can they go? Thankfully, I live with my son now, but things are not good. Nobody is feeling okay.
Initially, the ceasefire brought a sense of relief, but days later, the reality on the ground is jarring. The Basta neighborhood in central Beirut saw one of the worst Israeli attacks. The missile strike that leveled this apartment block happened in the final days of the war. Residents say they're still pulling out body parts, and they still think there are people buried under the rubble because they can smell rotting flesh in the air. The loss to Lebanon's economy and the cost of rebuilding are being spoken of in the billions of dollars, and every estimate comes with the caveat, it is probably worse.
The losses are quite big, quite considerable versus the GDP. So we're talking about billions. The last report from the World Bank is mentioning around 8.5 billion of direct and indirect losses. Our GDP is around 16 to 17 billion. So can you imagine it's like 50–60% of the GDP. So yeah, it is quite bad.
Lebanon's economy has been shrinking for decades. Lost harvests, declining tourism, capital flight, brain drain, the less obvious casualties of war, along with long-standing accusations of government mismanagement and corruption. Getting people to come back will mean restoring the confidence of investors and regaining the trust of the international community. A hard sell in a place where war often looks more likely than stability. Zein, Basravi, Al Jazeera, Beirut.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.